The movie kicks off with Sam heading to attend her friend Betsy's bachelorette party, and since Sam is always swamped with work stress, she decided to clear her schedule today to enjoy this lovely day with Betsy and her friend. They arrive at the nightclub, but the security guy refuses to let them in. Right at that moment, Nadine shows up and invites them inside. Sam is surprised to see her co-worker at a bachelorette party, and Nadine pulls Sam aside and tells her that the mission isn't tomorrow anymore, it's happening today. From their little chat, we understand that Sam is actually an undercover cop, and that's why she's always so busy. Meanwhile, we cut to her team who's monitoring their target, and it looks like this target is carrying a very dangerous weapon. Back at the bar, Nadine helps Sam slip out of the party without Betsy noticing she's leaving. Sam successfully gets out and makes it to the location where the target is being monitored, and she sees him receiving the biological weapon and getting ready to escape with it. She asks for permission to engage the target, but the team leader denies it because the mission is supposed to be surveillance only. But since Sam is one of those brave souls who always stands up for what's right, she decides to ignore the orders and goes after the target before he gets away with the biological weapon. Her team tries to she knocks them both out cold. Her boss chases after her, but she's determined to finish the mission, so he decides to back her up in chasing down the target before he escapes with the weapon. Her friend tries to track her using a drone to find out where she went, but Sam, not wanting anyone to follow her, shoots the drone and blows it to pieces. The target hears the gunshot and decides to run before he gets caught. Sam gets separated from her boss, and each of them goes searching for the target in different directions, until Sam suddenly realizes the target actually caught her boss and is threatening her that if she doesn't let him go, he'll toss him off and finish him right there. The moment Sam spots a fruit truck passing by, she takes out the target, and her boss ends up falling onto the fruit, saving his life. They all get back to their headquarters, and the whole team starts blaming Sam for being reckless in chasing the target. But Sam fires back saying, well, in the end, we managed to secure the biological weapon, so technically, mission accomplished. Her boss snaps at her, saying, yeah, because of you, our lives almost ended. Then, trying to keep it professional, he tells her, look, in recognition of your efforts, I'm not going to fire you, but you're going on leave until we figure out what to do with you. Obviously, Sam isn't happy about it because she's absolutely married to her job and never even takes vacations. Meanwhile, Betsy is upset because Sam ditched her again like always, complaining to her friends, she didn't even come to my engagement party, and every time we plan something together, she bails last minute because of work. At that moment, Sam shows up and starts apologizing, explaining she had to leave for work. But Betsy is done, saying, nope, I'm over it. You're not going to be my maid of honor anymore at the wedding. Hey, Virginia, how about you be my maid of honor? Virginia's absolutely thrilled, while Sam is clearly annoyed since she's never liked Virginia, especially considering Sam and Betsy have been best friends since childhood. It hits Sam hard, way harder than she expected, and she just takes a deep breath and leaves the place. At night, Nadine told her, how about a solo mission? I've got the perfect mission for you. You're going to attend Betsy's wedding, which is going to be held at Virginia's super rich mansion. Sam replied, I'll go attend the wedding ceremony and then leave. I'm not really into spending a whole week away from work. Nadine answered, but you need to disconnect from work for a bit. You're amazing on the professional side, but your relationship with your friend is suffering because of it. So you have to go, Sam. Sam finally said, you know what? You're right. You convinced me. I'll go spend the whole week with Betsy. But promise me that when I get back, there'll still be work waiting for me. The very next day, Sam heads to Virginia's massive mansion, dear viewer, so big that she had to take this little cart just to reach the main building. But while she's riding in the cart, she hears the sound of a cannon shot, and she gets nervous, about to pull out her gun just in case it's an attack or something. But the driver tells her it's just a local tradition. The cannon fires every day at 2 p.m. Sam finally arrives at Betsy's place, and Betsy is surprised she actually showed up, saying, after everything I said at the bar, I figured you wouldn't come, especially since you left that day without even saying goodbye. Sam replied, come on, like I could ever stay away from you, my lifelong friend. It's your wedding. I have to be one of the first ones here. At that moment, Virginia shows up, all upset because the candles they ordered were too hard, and she said they were supposed to be much softer. And we can clearly tell from her expression that she's not too happy to see Sam at the wedding. And honestly, it looks like Virginia's jealous of Sam Sam and can't stand her one bit. Inside the house, Ryan shows up, Betsy's fiancé and soon-to-be husband. Virginia introduces him, saying Ryan is her cousin, and from the way she talks about him, you can tell she knows everything about him, like every single move he makes. At the end of the chat, she tells Sam, "Your room is the last one at the end of the top floor," and obviously that's just her being petty since she doesn't like Sam and can't stand her, so she shoved her as far away from Betsy as possible. The next day, Virginia's running a rehearsal with the guests for the wedding arrangements, asking everyone why Chris hasn't shown up yet. And honestly, it's pretty clear she's got a thing for Chris and wants to be with him. At that moment, their friend Lydia spots the priest who's going to officiate the wedding and tells her friends she's kinda into him. A few glances here and there, and the priest makes his move and goes over to introduce himself. After a little while, Chris finally shows up, and that's when we get why Virginia's head over heels for him. Chris is ridiculously handsome, dear viewer, like way above everyone else at this wedding. Meanwhile, Sam's just sitting by herself, all quiet and distant, which makes sense because the only person who really matters to her here is Betsy, but Betsy's keeping her distance and barely talking to her. Later that night, while Sam's sitting alone feeling sad and miserable, Betsy's dad comes over. He's always loved Sam like his own daughter. Sam asks him, "Do you think Betsy's actually happy with all this wedding stuff?" And he replies, "I'll have to say yes, because I don't want to ruin her special moment." Around that time, Betsy grabs the mic and gets everyone's attention. Then she tells Ryan, her fiancé, "I've got a little dance for you with the help of my girls," and she calls all her bridesmaids, including Sam, to come up and dance with her. Virginia told Sam, "You didn't join us for the dance rehearsal, so if you don't mind, just go sit on the side until we're done." The girls start dancing while Sam's sitting there super annoyed, especially seeing how close Virginia is getting to her best friend Betsy. So right away, she puts her combat skills to good use and grabs a little stick, turning it into a sneaky tool to trip Virginia without anyone noticing. What Sam didn't realize, though, is that Chris had been watching her the whole time and saw exactly what she did to Virginia. A little later, Sam goes to talk to Linda and says, "I'm so done with Virginia and how close she's getting to Betsy." Linda tries to calm her down, saying, "Relax. Just enjoy these couple of days with your friend, and I promise I'll make sure to add some positive points to your work record." Meanwhile, over by the beach, we see a coordinated attack from a gang targeting the security guards, and it looks like things are about to get real crazy in this movie. So, dear viewer, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Back to Sam, who's still talking to Linda. She spots a strange guy carrying a big bag. She immediately suspects he might be a criminal carrying a weapon in the bag. She snaps a picture and shows it to Linda, but Linda tells her, "Girl, relax. That's probably someone from the wedding band with a guitar or something. Like I said, take it easy and don't stress yourself out." So Sam listens, chills out, and heads back to the party. Then here comes Chris, Mr. Handsome himself, introducing himself to Sam. He asks her to go grab a drink with him, but Sam refuses, saying she's tired. So Chris tells her, "Okay, how about this? I won't tell anyone you're the reason Virginia fell, if you come have a drink with me." So Sam, not wanting him to expose her and make her look bad, immediately agrees. She introduces herself and tells him her job is selling rare cats, which is obviously the cover story hiding her real work. They keep joking and laughing together, while Virginia is spying on them from a distance, fuming over how close Sam is getting to her precious Chris. The next day, Virginia arranges a super fancy pedicure and manicure session for the bride and her friends, then pulls Sam aside and tells her, "I saw you standing with Chris. Just so you know, Chris is a longtime family friend. His dad went to prison, and the person who saved him from going bankrupt was my father. You could say we're basically stuck together. So if you don't mind, maybe go find someone else." Sam replies, "If he's yours, then trust me, I'll stay far away from him." Then comes the big wedding day, with the bride and her bridesmaids getting all glammed up, and at the same time, the gang I mentioned earlier starts moving in the water heading towards the wedding. Sam notices Betsy looking stressed and upset, so she decides to check on her. She says, "Betsy, if you don't love Ryan and you're being forced into this marriage, just tell me. I know you better than anyone, my friend." Betsy gets mad and says, "What are you even talking about? I love Ryan and I want to marry him. You've been MIA for a long time. So don't show up now acting like you know me so well." Sam insists on knowing what's really bothering her, saying, "I'm seriously your friend and I know you're not happy with this wedding." That really upsets Betsy, and she fires back, "Get out of my wedding. I don't want to see your face again. Sam has no choice but to leave her best friend's wedding, heartbroken by what Betsy said to her. After a while, Betsy's dad goes to get her so he can walk her down the aisle to Ryan, and just as the priest barely starts to declare them husband and wife, the gang bursts into the wedding, firing shots in the air to scare the guests. Gang leader tells everyone, whoever cooperates with us will stay alive, but whoever resists, well, don't blame me for what happens. Sam hears the gunfire and decides she's not about to leave her best friend alone, so she rushes back in to save her. Meanwhile, the gang leader gathers all the guests into a room and warns them that anyone who doesn't follow orders won't live to see another day. Betsy's dad steps up and says, "Take me instead. Let my daughter go." The gang leader tells him, "I know you used to be a colonel in the army, but nope, your daughter is way more valuable to me." Then he calls the Virginia family over to talk to them privately. He reveals he knows where their secret safe is, and they're absolutely shocked, wondering how on earth he knows about it. He tells them, "I know everything about you, and I also know that safe only opens with your special rings." He uses the first ring, then follows it up with a retina scan from Virginia's father, and then, when he's about to enter the passcode, which is their wedding date, Chris suddenly speaks up and says, "No, don't put the wedding date, use the day before it, because that was the happiest day of their lives." And right there, the entire Virginia family is in total shock, and so am I, realizing Chris is the gang's spy. Ryan says, "Why Chris? We took you in off the streets after your dad went to prison, and this is how you repay us?" Chris responds, "My dad went to jail because you all refused to testify and save him," and they tell him, "Your dad went to prison because he stole people's money, and we weren't going to lie for him just because he was our friend." Ryan gets furious at him and says, "I treated you like a brother," and just as he's about to punch him, one of the gang members shoots Ryan in the leg, knocking him to the ground. Meanwhile, Sam is luring the gang members and taking them down one by one. One of the gang guys calls the boss and says, "Someone's taking out our men." So the gang leader hands a gun to Chris and tells him, "Go find out who it is and take care of it for us." And you can tell from the way the boss talks that he can't stand Chris and actually wants to get rid of him. On the other side, Nadine gets the analysis report on the bag picture and discovers there's a weapon inside. So she immediately calls for backup to head out and save Sam and the wedding. Sam breaks into the surveillance room and takes out the gang member stationed there, then checks the security cameras and discovers that Chris is one of the gang members. She goes to where Chris is and tells him, "Help me, Chris. I heard gunshots and saw the gang kidnapped Betsy." Chris responds, "Don't worry, I'm here, I'll protect you from them," but then secretly calls the gang to tell them she's with him. After making sure her spot is secure, Sam pulls a gun on Chris and says, "What a shame, there could have been something between us," then grabs his gun, but finds it's empty. She tells him, "Looks like your boss wants you dead too. Gave you an empty gun." Chris tries to escape, and they end up in a fight using the hard wax sticks, but one of the gang members shows up and fires at Sam, forcing her to escape by jumping out the window, landing in another room. A gang member comes in to check if she's still alive or if her life is over. When the gang member checks and thinks Sam is dead, he's about to walk away, but Sam is still alive and gets up, knocks him out cold. Meanwhile, Chris calls the gang leader and tells him Sam fell from the second floor and she's done for. This news obviously devastates Betsy, thinking she'll never see her best friend again. But when she looks out the window, she sees Sam is not only alive, but absolutely wrecking the gang members, knocking them out left and right. Betsy tells her friends, "Sam's alive. I just saw her beating up the gang guys." But they mock her and say, "Girl, the man just said she's dead, probably hallucinating from the shock." Betsy insists, "No, I really saw her alive." Then she goes to the gang leader and says, "Nobody here's eaten anything all day. These people are starving. Nothing bad's gonna happen if I go grab some food from the kitchen." The gang leader, who's also hungry, says, "Fine. 2 of my guys will go with you to get the food." Betsy heads to the kitchen with the 2 gang members, but they walk right into Sam, armed with weapons and kitchen knives, and she takes them down. Sam grabs Betsy and they escape to another location, with Betsy completely stunned by her best friend's strength and agility. When they get to a safer place, Betsy asks, "Are you in some kind of special forces or something?" Sam replies, "Something like that. That's why I'm always so busy." Betsy apologizes for the way she treated her, then tells her they're opening the main safe with Virginia's family rings, and Dad said if they open the last lock, they'll kill everyone because they don't want any witnesses. Sam replies, "Don't worry, they won't be able to open that last lock. I took that ring from Chris." Back to the gang leader, who asks Chris to hand over the ring so they can open the last lock. But Chris is shocked when he realizes Sam took the ring from him before she jumped out the window. The gang leader figures out Sam is still alive and calls her over the radio. Sam replies, "I'm coming for you, and I'm taking down you and your whole crew, so don't you dare lay a finger on any of the hostages." Sam then tells Betsy, "Find a place to hide so I can be sure you're safe." But Betsy says, "No, I want to fight the gang with you. It's been ages since we've done anything together. Please let me help." Sam, with her soft heart, hands her a gun and says, "Take this to your dad, and when you hear my signal, start attacking the gang from inside." Betsy heads back to the gang leader and tells him, "I met Sam and I've got a message for you. I'm going to get revenge on you and your men for ruining my friend's wedding." The gang leader says, "Let's see what you can actually do to us. Now get back in there to your wounded fiancé." Betsy goes to Ryan and uses the moment to tell her friends, "Sam's alive and coming to rescue us. When you hear her signal, we're going to fight back from inside and take down the gang guys with us." Meanwhile, the gang members go out hunting for Sam, but she leads them straight into a trap. She gets them to walk through the garden by the sprinklers, then sends an electric shock through the water and wipes them all out. The gang leader gets fed up with Sam's tricks and decides to go after her himself with the rest of his men, but Sam had another trap waiting. Boom, she blows them all up. Then she confronts the gang leader and tells him, "Your life ends by my hands," before escaping. Meanwhile, Betsy, who's pregnant, pretends to go into labor to distract the gang members. And that's exactly what happens. Betsy's dad, with the help of his daughter's friends, manages to overpower the gang and tie them up. Then they grab weapons from the mansion and all escape through the underground tunnels. Meanwhile, we cut back to Sam, who's fighting off the gang members like the ultimate taekwondo master. But since numbers can overpower courage, they eventually manage to capture her and take her hostage. The gang leader tells her, "There's no way you're just a regular civilian. You must be special forces. Though I gotta say, usually they come in groups. This is the first time I see someone attacking solo. Anyway, your time's up, and as soon as I open this vault, you're done." He grabs the ring and opens the vault, which is packed with gold, like the reserve of a national bank. He activates the air pumps to suck the gold through pipes straight to the island's beach. On the other side, Betsy tells her friends, "There's no way I'm leaving Sam behind. We have to go back and help her." And even though her friends are terrified of the gang, they band together and decide to go back to rescue Sam. Back to Sam, the gang leader taunts her, "Sit here and watch me take all this gold while you can't do anything about it. And you, Chris, you're not getting the hard drive with proof of your dad's innocence. In fact, I'm done with you and don't need you anymore." Then he grabs a metal rod and goes after Chris to finish him off. Sam uses the moment he's distracted to escape, but since she's got a good heart, she decides to go back and save Chris from the gang leader. They escape together, climbing down into the hot water boiler chute of the mansion. The gang leader shouts after them, "Wow, what a lovely choice of escape. I'm going to boil the water you're in until you both turn into boiled chickens. And as for the wedding guests, I know they escaped through the tunnel because I secretly put tracking devices on them without them realizing," says the gang leader. He orders one of his men to crank up the boiler to the max. Inside the tank, Chris tells Sam, "I don't even know why you saved me. I was ready to blow up the mansion and everyone in it with this device I've got." The water starts boiling, and Sam and Chris keep banging on the tank walls, hoping their friends will hear them. And that's exactly what happens. Virginia leads their friends to rescue them at the last second. They knock Chris out, and then all the girls head out to the courtyard to fight the gang and recover the stolen gold. They aim the cannon at the gang and start firing at them, and when the gang tries to escape the cannon's range, Sam and Betsy crawl into the air ducts to catch up. Then they hop on an amphibious boat and go after the gang in a full-speed chase. At the same time, Chris regains consciousness, steals a car, and goes after the gang leader to get the hard drive. Sam and Betsy keep firing at the gang's boats, blowing up several of them. Then they jump onto the boat carrying the gang leader and get into a fight with him. Sam eventually chains him up and knocks him out cold by dropping the anchor. Just then, Chris shows up on the boat holding an Uzi, threatening Sam to hand over the hard drive or he'll finish them off. Betsy crouches to grab it, but Sam hugs her and pulls the parachute, and they both jump off the boat. Sam's plan all along was to trick Chris into getting stuck in the wedding stage setup and get rid of him for good. Finally, Sam and Betsy defeat the gang and return to the rest of the wedding guests. That's when Sam's team finally arrives, completely shocked at how Sam managed to take down the gang all on her own. Betsy says, "You know what? I think we should just finish the wedding here. I don't want that overpriced fancy wedding anymore. All I need is you, my best friend." The priest starts the ceremony to pronounce them husband and wife. But at the last second, Chris bursts in with a gun, yelling, "Give me the hard drive or there won't be a wedding today." Sam calmly walks up to him and says, "Chris, I did my homework. I looked into your dad's case and found out he was actually guilty. You won't find anything on that hard drive to prove otherwise. And honestly, I think deep down you already knew that." Chris goes silent, then quietly surrenders to the police. The priest resumes the ceremony, officially pronounces Betsy and Ryan husband and wife, and the movie ends with everyone dancing, not just celebrating the wedding, but also celebrating the fact that they took down the entire gang. And that's where our movie summary ends today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and tell us what you think down in the comments. This was your go-to guy for parties, weddings, and good times. Your brother, Santa El Shami. See you next time.